All right, let's talk about maintenance. For so many companies, it feels like a constant state of chaos, right? Just a reactive cost center. But what if I told you it could be your secret weapon, a powerful engine for productivity? Today, we're going to break down exactly how to make that transformation happen using two incredibly powerful disciplines, planning and scheduling.
You know this scene. I bet you've lived it. A critical machine goes down, and suddenly it's all hands on deck. The crew is scrambling. Everyone's scratching their heads. Where's the part? Do we have the right tool? Who has the manual? It's just this frustrating, endless cycle of delays and firefighting.
And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Why does it feel like so much of the day just evaporates? You're paying for a full 10-hour shift, but how much of that time are your technicians actually fixing things? Well, the answer might honestly shock you.
Get this. The industry average for wrench time, that's the time a maintenance tech is actually, turning a wrench, making productive progress, is only 35%. Let that sink in. For every 10-hour shift, a staggering 6.5 hours are just gone, lost to waiting, searching, and all those other non-productive activities.
So how in the world do we fix that? Well, here's our game plan. We're going to tackle that wrench time problem head on. We'll define what planning really is and what it isn't. Then we'll cover the core principles that make it all click, see how it all comes together in practice, look at the tools you need, and finally, talk about the massive payoff.
So let's start with that big one, the wrench time problem. That huge chunk of lost time we just saw, that 6.5 hours, it isn't just inefficient. It is a massive, hidden cost of chaos that is absolutely strangling your plant's capacity.
But here's the beautiful part. The solution has this incredible built-in advantage called planning leverage. Think about it. A single planner, just by preparing work in advance, can dramatically lift the productivity of an entire crew of 20, maybe even 30 technicians. It's a true force multiplier. That one person's work turns all that lost time back into real, productive work.
Now, to unlock that amazing leverage, we have to get crystal clear on what a planner actually does, because honestly, it's one of the most misunderstood roles in the entire maintenance world. So let's start by busting a few common myths.
First off, planning is not just a fancy word for preventative maintenance, and it's not about writing some hyper-detailed step-by-step procedure for every single task. And, this is a big one, it is definitely not about chasing down spare parts for a job that's already in progress. That's not planning. That's just expediting. That's firefighting.
So what is it? Here's the key. Planning is a coordination function that happens before a job is ever given to a crew. A planner's entire world is focused on future work. Their job is to make sure the scope is clear and all the parts, tools, and info are lined up and ready to go before anyone even thinks about starting.
I love this slide because it perfectly shows the two different mindsets. Path A, that's the reactive world, the parts chaser totally focused on today's fire. But Path B, that's the proactive world. The planner is a coordinator, an architect of future success, making sure there's always a pipeline of ready-to-go jobs for the crew.
And making that shift from reactive to proactive, it doesn't just happen by accident. It's built on a set of core principles. You can think of them as the operating system for your whole maintenance department.
At the very heart of this system, you've got two pieces that are totally inseparable. 6 principles for planning and 6 for scheduling. They're two sides of the same coin. See, planning clears the roadblocks during a job, which then allows scheduling to assign more jobs to the crew. They have to work together. Let's look at a couple of these principles that really make all the difference.
Okay, this one is absolutely critical. Planners must be in a separate department. They should report to a planning manager, not the crew supervisor. You might be asking, why is that so important? Well, because if they report to the crew, they will, without a doubt, get sucked into today's emergencies, the tyranny of the urgent, and planning for tomorrow just stops.
Here's another brilliant principle. It's all about respecting the skill of your craftspeople. The planner's job is to define the what, the scope of the job. But we have to trust the technician's training and skill for the how. Planners can't be micromanaging every single step if they ever hope to get to a point where they can plan 100% of the work.
Now, let's switch over to scheduling. A key principle here is something you may have heard of called Parkinson's Law. Basically, it says that work expands to fill the time you give it. So, if you don't schedule for 100% of your crew's available time, people will naturally slow down to fill the day. It is way, way better to assign a little too much work than it is to run out.
Okay, so we've got the mindset, we've got the principles, so what does this actually look like in practice?
Let's follow a single work order as it flows through this new and improved system.
So, a planner grabs a work request and starts building a quality job plan. They figure out the scope, what actually needs to be done, they identify the right craft and skill level, they estimate the hours, reserve or order the parts, and make a note of any special tools. And then, and this is so important, after the job's done, they get feedback from the technician to make the plan even better for next time. It's a continuous improvement loop.
Now, this whole system of planning, scheduling, and feedback, it doesn't happen on clipboards anymore. It's all powered by technology that gives you the structure and, frankly, the control you need to make it work.
Your CMMS, it really is the central nervous system of your whole operation. It's so much more than just a place to log work orders. I mean, it gives you huge benefits, like inventory control, which is often the biggest financial win of all. It spits out metrics and reports so you can actually see what's going on. And it automates all your preventative maintenance tasks. It's the engine that runs this whole system. All right, we've covered the problem, the principles, the process, and the tools. So let's get to the good part. What's the bottom line? What's the real-world, tangible payoff for putting this kind of system in place?
This right here, this is it. This is the goal. Taking that typical wrench time from a dismal 35% and pushing it up to a world-class 55%, or maybe even higher. You are literally almost doubling the productive output of your maintenance crew without hiring a single new person. It's incredible.
And that huge jump in wrench time, it creates this massive ripple effect across all your key metrics. You can see it here. World-class organizations, they have over 80% of their work planned ahead of time. Their crews hit over 90% of their weekly schedule. And they have a healthy backlog of 2 to 4 weeks of work just waiting to go. This is what control looks like. This is replacing chaos with predictability.
So, let's bring it home. What's in it for everyone involved? For the technicians, it means no more frustrating delays. The right parts, the right tools, right there when you need them. For the supervisors, it means you finally have real control, a clear plan for the week, every single week. And for the company? Well, it's a powerful competitive edge, one that's built on a rock-solid foundation of reliability and pure productivity. In the end, after all the theory and all the systems, it really just boils down to this simple, powerful call to action from Doc Palmer, the author of the handbook this is all based on. In conclusion, start planning. The path from being a chaotic cost center to a productivity powerhouse is clear. The only question left is, when are you going to start?